Hey, everybody. Michelle is here. It's Friday evening, and, a lot of people are out. I think, one of my neighbors is about to have some big celebration of something that's going on today. April is usually that kind of month where there's a lot of outdoor activities, but I think because, it's not as cold in all regions. I mean, in the state I'm in, we don't really have seasons, to be honest with you. It's either hot and hot in most cases. Sometimes we have a cold snap, but that's just rare. This year, we had reasonably cooler temperatures, but not. I don't remember a cold snap where I had to cover plants and this and that and the other. So it's just something every year. It's always something different. But I can remember back in the day when I was in this South Florida town, and a hurricane just came through. It was a major hurricane. And I remember after the hurricane, how peaceful, because everything was out. All the lights and stuff went out. All the power was out. Lights were out, which I mean power. I was in a, what do you call that? Extended stay. I was in there. It was, it was pitch black all over the city. And, you know, I thought that was very peaceful, actually. There were no lights nowhere. You didn't hear anything like air conditioners, and it was almost like as they say, dead silence, because there was no one could get gas. Everything was out, so people had to stay put or stay home. Because wandering in the streets, it would have been dangerous for them because there was flooding and wires down and this and that and the other. And I can remember looking over the balcony and just looking up and realizing how peaceful that was. It was a very peaceful moment. And then I was able to reflect and all that kind of stuff. Because, it was a struggling time for me. It really was. But I made myself through it. So what I want to talk about is what's called like that pendulum. A lot of people talk about the pendulum. You know how it swings, the pendulum. How it oscillates and swings and stuff like that. And it's energy, of course. We all know that. We all know that it's energy. And there's always a point in time that where there is momentum one way, momentum another way, and blah blah blah. Where things are being affected on one side and the other side hardly uh, feel the impact of anything. Life is normal as it appears. And I told you with the planet Earth, there's no way we can know what's happening on the other side of the world. There's no way. Not even the media can be very accurate about that. Okay, because of the time, uh, the time zone, how easily you can get to those regions. Some regions don't have this type of services that are compatible. Blah 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 blah. They may have satellites that can pick up certain things, but there's some controversy about that as well. Because no one's being honest about what's really going on with the satellites. And then I saw something where something has supposed to have fallen onto the earth. You know what I mean? That those kind of things being told to us. So I kind of disregard it and I just use caution, and that's what everyone ought to do when something's falling out of the sky. But anyway, now, so like I said, the energy of the pendulum, one place can be in total devastation, while the other side of the world and is living peacefully and in harmony and has no idea what's happening on the other side of the world. That's how it is. No matter what the media tells you, they can't capture all of that stuff happening simultaneously. Now, here are some just theories and opinions for entertainment purposes only. All right, just something to think about over the weekend. How about that? When you're being a creative, because that's what I am, a creator, storyteller, author, speaker, whatever. You can call me whatever you want. Human being preferred. So I told you that we're overpopulated, and a lot of people, and that's the reason why we're having such devastation with the climate. But no one's going to say that. No one's going to openly say it. Scientists should be telling us that and being honest with us, but they're not. You know, the scientists are not going to be honest with us. Are you guys kidding? They're not going to be honest. So fine. But if you're that type of person that you're in touch with reality, you know that there's a crumbling of infrastructure. A lot of it's neglect. A lot of it is just normal wear and tear. And the others are nefarious, intentional. And then a lot of it is just the course of how the energy is flowing, right? Everything's energy. Now, and I also told you your thoughts are energy as well. Everything's energy. So you need to look at it in that way. Try to see it as that way and not see so much of the materialness of it. So imagine when there's just so much force of energy, so much force of such a force of concentration of energy. At some point, there's always going to be a disturbance with that when it's just so much of it and so intense. Like I said, all our thoughts. And then on top of that, like I said, we're overpopulated with almost 10 billion people. 10 billion people. So so with that being, so with the energy, with the disturbance of the energy, everything is kind of being so condensed and being so, there's a lot of oscillation and it's just everything's kind of out of control. And I think I said this a long time ago that everything's starting to spin. Earth is spinning, 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 spinning in an unnatural spinning. There's an unnatural spinning of the earth. Okay. And I told you that there were a pole shift, and it continues because of the overpopulation. And then also the fact that we're drilling inside the earth, which is causing a disturbance as well. Because based on my research and study and information given to me from the various teachers that I've had, I kind of, I do think for myself and try to figure things out on my own. That's why I love self-education. So just picture this for a moment. Where Florida was supposedly in where Greenland is. Okay. Where Florida currently is residing, it was originally up where Greenland is. Okay, so it means that Florida came southwesterly, has moved southwesterly in a way. And that's because of the pole shift, and the pole shift continues. You understand me? Because we're not reducing our population, so that's why it's spinning. That's why we're going to be spinning. It's just like a rock that's coming down a mountain. It starts small, and then once it starts picking up a lot of momentum, picking up that condensing of the snow, and boom, 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 boom. Before you know, you got a massive avalanche coming at you, and that's what's going to happen. How about that for a plot? Something to contemplate. So that's what's going to start happening. Stuff is just going to, because we have this unnatural spin going on that the scientists will not be honest with us and tell us that. They want to do everything behind the scenes and in caves and in dark corners and in labs, keeping things on the wrap. So the swinging, and so like I said, it's starting to be an unnatural spinning. So at some point, there's going to be devastation on certain regions or places. Now, also with the energy, right? Remember what I said with energy and thoughts. You're going to start aligning yourself with people that are like-minded, just like you, right? And, similar to your process of thinking. All right. And then because we're so overpopulated, we're so condensed, that's going to be easy to do, per se. And so what it's going to cause is people to start separating and being in groups that are like-minded to them. Okay, whether it's positive or negative. A lot of it is negativity, that encasement of negativity. So unfortunately, what's going to happen is, like I said, certain like-mindedness and certain people that think similar, supports similar ideologies and rhetoric, they're going to be together, spinning together. And then people of another like mind, they're thinking in another way. So we're going to start separating. Now, this separation is nothing to do with anything necessarily intentional. It's a result. It's an effect. So what people are going to do is start spinning around in their own circle of people that think like them and act like them. And, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see groups of people spinning together. They're spinning together, basically. And so that's why, that's why there's a war going on the other side of the world. And it's not affecting us at all, per se, yet. Okay, but eventually that stuff does catch up. It really does, eventually. So what's going to start happening is, there like-minded people are going to be together. And in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, if you have done everything in your power to neutralize yourself and be a righteous human being despite everything, despite your religious denomination, despite whether you're a man or whether you're a woman or however you identify, whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, there's rewards in positive, and then there's rewards in negative. We understand that, right? So eventually you're going to be swinging with people that are like you, that are peaceful and loving. Okay, while on the other side, people that think of hatred and this and that and the other, they're going to be together too. And so, but then there's always going to be victims in the middle of it as well. What do I mean by victims? Well, there's going to be people that are going to be feeling the effects of an imbalanced planet, where they're going to be affected by the climate per se, because they got too many people in a village. They got too many people on an island, and with the rising of the sea levels, like I said, some of these little places are going to disappear. And no one's going to even know that they've even existed until further down way in the distant future. Right? So my point is, there is value in being a genuine good human being, because because everything's speeding up. Has anybody noticed that? It appears everything's speeding up. Well, that's not a coincidence. Okay, it's an energy, and that's what planets do. They kind of, they react to the vibrational level on the planet. Like I said, we're so low, and I'll go back into that another time. We're just so low in our vibrational, so it's disturbing. It's disturbing the life of the planet. In other words, it's speeding things up. Something that should have happened a million years in advance is actually going to be happening sooner than later. Right? Something that should have taken place, say, a million years in the future, is starting to happen in less time than that, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to take a million years, put it that way, to get to a point there that should have taken a million years. Everything's speeding up now. And so that million years is reducing. It's becoming, closer to, something being devastating now that should not have happened. Should have happened a million years in advance. Hope that makes sense. And that's because of the interference. The interference of humans. All of this is the interference of humans. So it's going to be documented, where, like I said, our descendants and children are going to be able to look back on our history. A lot of it, they're going to be in disgust with people that should have known better. I'm talking about scientists, intellectuals, politicians, and this and that and the other. They're going to be so disappointed and wondering what in the world. And so they're going to have to be the ones repairing all the damage. And they're not going to be able to work on their consciousness, when it was all about the consciousness all along. It wasn't about materialism. It wasn't about destroying planets and destroying animals and the flora and the fauna, the plants and the trees and, So I told you, nature is going to start taking over. So, but if you are vibrating on a energy level that's neutralized to the best of and to the best of your ability, because some of us are already above that level of vibrational, and we're usually the teachers, the messengers, that we're doing. And leaders, certain leaders are, there are certain leaders that are fantastic with that. Certain religious people, certain entrepreneurs, business owners, they operate out of neutralized universal love for people, and there's a benefit to that. And a lot of people, I used to question that when I started doing my spiritual teaching, way back. It's like, man, why am I going through this again? Why am I going through this again? So it was just an immaturity and being underdeveloped. And now, since I can sense and receive things a lot better, I understand. It makes complete sense to me. So anything that happens around the world makes complete sense to me. And it's not about forecasting anything. It's about being logical, rational, and reasonable, and being clear and effective, and understanding what the process of energy and process of a massive amount of people in one particular space, and that's called Earth. So my point is, you don't want to be fearful, because like I said, we do reincarnate, but we come right back to this planet. By the way, a lot of people don't want to accept that, and I'm not going to go into that either. I'm not going to go into that back and forth on that, because that's, it's kind of illogical. So don't be surprised that you are living in paradise in the midst of chaos and danger and destruction. And you're going to be with the people that is, in other words, you deserve to be living in a paradise despite what's going on with the planet. Okay? And you deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor without worrying so much about what's happening with, everybody else. And especially when it's like you're a particular type of person, all your life, you've done everything in your power to be a loving, caring, and kind person. But, sometimes you feel like, gosh, especially if you're not being nefarious about it, and especially if you have good intentions, it will pay off. That's all I'm saying. It will pay off. So don't be discouraged, and you can't help everybody. That is what's going to be the most difficult thing for everybody to accept. You cannot help everybody. So if I were you, I would not be releasing my money unless you can go to those regions. I mean, that's going to be a choice, but I would not be releasing a lot of my money on certain things that are way out of your control. I would focus on my local communities. That's what I would do. I would focus on my local. How can I help my local community? And not be so concerned about what's happening on the other side of the world. Because chances are that money is being mishandled. I can guarantee you most of it is. It goes to so-called administrative costs. We already know that happened to Haiti, right? All that money raised for Haiti. And some of those people are still struggling. So hold on to your money and give locally, where you can go to these places, wherever you live in your city. Go locally and see how you can make an impact. And don't feel bad if you can't. If you can't, you can't. Don't be draining yourself. That don't make any kind of sense as well. So my point is with this, and it's something to contemplate over the weekend, or contemplate whenever you want. Contemplate when you're meditating. Because I think some areas have a lot of something with the storms and stuff going on. I have no idea. I think a lot of my stuff is being filtered. I'm only getting certain type of information, but I don't care. I mean, I'll be all right. But there's weather events, put it that way, going on all over the world, and there's no way that any media outlet can capture all of that. Don't let them fool you. Okay, they cannot. All right. Like I said, they screwed up. Somehow somebody screwed up with the launching of these satellites. So anyway, um, so-called weather satellites. I mean, but anyway, that's an opinion. Don't bother me about it. Yeah, but yes, the pendulum is swinging faster than it ought to be. It's spinning, 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 it's spinning. And so a lot of stuff that should not have been, like I said, should not have been happening until like a million years in the future are going to probably start happening right before a lot of our eyes, right? Um, in the form of nature taking over and handling business, right? So, but I just want to make it clear to people that are just genuinely good people, and there's millions of us like that. But at the same time, there's only so much that we can do. A million people, just say it, just say a million people. A million people cannot save 10 billion people under the best circumstances. And so you need to understand that and release that guilt of feeling like you need to be worried about what's happening with the war in Russia and Ukraine. That's out of your control. You need to hold on to your resources so that when something hits you, you'll be prepared. All right, just think a little bit about that. Okay, the damage has been done. All right, this war should not have been lasted as long as it's lasted, but it's continually. And it's going to continue and continue. And I think at some point there's going to be a launching of nuclear weapons. And we may not feel the effect of nuclear weapons, but we will eventually. Okay, just like those nuclear weapons that were launched in the 40s. We are all reaping that harmful effects of that today, and it will continue. It's hard to get rid of nuclear energy. Even if you're testing it, it's affecting everybody. But no one wants to tell you that. But it's up to you to educate yourself and figure these things out on your own too. So I just want to give you something to think about and know that your efforts to be a good, genuine, loving, kind human being will pay off. So don't be discouraged. You just got to be clear and effective about your intentions and your contradictions. So just, in other words, continue to work on yourself. Do it via meditation, no thought meditation. Do it in your thoughts. Just look around. If you're living relatively well, okay, you've made that happen. Nobody outside of you did that. You did that. You did it. And you don't have to boast about it. You don't even have to say anything about it. Just be thankful and grateful about it. Because I told you when we were young in our family, we had no idea we were poor. Until we went into elementary school one day and they were giving us things. Clothing and food and books. And I think a certificate. I had no idea we were poor or considered poor, put it that way. We were fed. We had all the basic necessities. And as I said, that's why I want to recreate Black culture. Black culture was intentionally eroded, intentionally involved in a so-called segregation scheme, in my opinion, to break up Black people and Black cultures only. No other cultures had this type of infiltration except Black culture. So let's accept that and stop, and just bring our heads up out of all of this delusion and start accepting things. Okay? So I'm going to say peace and love. Everybody have a good evening. Enjoy yourselves. And like I said, enjoy the moments. If you've worked hard enough for it, you deserve it. Right? And you know how to be, enjoy yourself without being extreme about it. Or being, you know how to handle yourself. And I want to send peace and love all over the world, universe. Take care. Talk to you soon.